Hi, hello once again to another session with Mr. Castrillon on the Satchel class. Today the topic in Spanish is going to be ¿Qué hora es? And I hope you can guess what the topic is about. And if you can't, well, hopefully in the next few lessons you'll be able to know exactly what we are talking about. So let's start with our session today. By the way, this is meant to be a Key Stage 3 session aimed at Year 7s and Year 8s. But this is a good way to remember certain topics and things and words that you might have forgotten, and it's good to kind of revise. So today we will revise numbers in Spanish in order to tell the time. And we will learn how to tell the time in Spanish. And also we will read a person's routine and extract information by using the time as clue, as a hint. Hoy vamos a repasar los números en español, vamos a aprender a dar el tiempo en español y vamos a leer la rutina de alguien y extraer información empleando el tiempo como guía. So I hope now you know what we are going to talk about, and it's going to be about the time. So before we continue, let's do a little bit of revision in terms of numbers, particularly those ones that we use when we are talking about time. Of course, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and so on. And remember that numbers in Spanish for those ones are as follows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, after that, of course, if we are going to say 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we just kind of recycle the numbers, we reuse the numbers, and then we continue from that. However, there is a small difference in Spanish when it comes down to saying 1 o'clock. And it's that we swap. Instead of saying uno, we say una. Because time is feminine in Spanish, believe it or not. Hora, the word hora, is feminine. So we have to adjust the word to the word hora. So let's start with our session today. So if someone wanted to ask the time, this is what they would say. ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es, por favor? Hola, ¿cómo está? ¿Qué hora es? Now, I come from South America, and we tend to say also ¿qué horas son? We use the plural. It doesn't mean that they're wrong or that this is right or wrong. It's just the way how we use it and how we kind of grow up with these sentences. But for the time being, we're going to use that one only. ¿Qué hora es? So when it is 1 o'clock, we say es. La una. Es la una. And that's you saying it's 1 o'clock. Es la una. From then onwards, we're going to use son. So when we are talking about 2, 3, 4, and so on until 12, we are going to be saying son. Las dos. So now we are using feminine and plural. Las dos. Son las tres. Son las cuatro. Son las cinco. Son las seis. Son las siete. Son las 8, son las 9, son las 10, son las 11, and this is an interesting one because we can say son las 12. Now, remember that when we have 12 o'clock, we have two options. We can say it's midday if it is 12 o'clock midday, or 12 o'clock midnight. And if it is midday, we can say es mediodía. If it is midnight, then we would say es medianoche. I'm just going to go back and say that again. Son las 12. Es mediodía. It literally means it's half day or middle of the day. And es medianoche, it's the middle of the night. So, as you can see, son las 4, son las 5, son las 3, son las 8, es la 1, son las 10, son las 12, es mediodía, es medianoche. Remember that the more you practice, the better. And just come back and watch this video again and replay this so you can practice and listen to my pronunciation. Now, what happens when we have a different time from that of o'clock? So here we have the first quarter of an hour. And how do we say that in Spanish? Well, we'll say that as y cuarto. Son las 2:15. It literally means it is 2 o'clock and a quarter. That's basically what we say in Spanish. But what about if it is actually halfway through the hour? So in that case, we say son las 2:30. It is 2 o'clock and a half. That's exactly what we say. Now, for the next kind of for the next part of the hour, these are the words we are going to use. Son las 2:45. So in this case, it's like when we are about to reach 2 o'clock, and then we are like 15 minutes to actually get to 2 o'clock. And this is when we say it is 2 less a quarter, because we still have to go another quarter in order to get to 2. So son las 2:45. So let's have a look and see where you can write these sentences in Spanish. So I'm going to show them to you. And feel free to translate them. In the meantime, I'm going to stop my video so I don't distract you. And I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to write those sentences in Spanish. Okay, so let's have a look and see how that went. So for the first one, son las 11. That means it's 11 o'clock. Son las 8. It's 8 o'clock. Son las 9:30. It is 9:30. And son las 12:45. Well, that's 11:45. Now, when we have different times, like say, for instance, in this case, so we would say son las 2:05. Once again, all we say is and basically we use the number for the minutes, in this case, 5. Now, remember that I'm using just an analog clock, which means that you're just looking at the arrows or the hands of the clock. It's much easier if you have the actual digital time. Dos. Can you get this one? Can you guess it? Son las 2:10. For this one, son las 2:20. For the next one, 2:25. Son las 2:25. Now, we've gone, or we passed half an hour. So now we are getting closer, okay, to the next hour. Now, in this case, by the way, we're getting closer to 2. I'm not changing that time, because if it was 25 to 3, then we would say 25 to 3. But what I'm going to say in Spanish is 25 to 2. So, son las 2 menos 25. Son las 2 menos 20. Son las 2 menos 10. And finally, son las 2 menos 5. So let's see where you can actually check this and tell us what the times are for each one of these exercises. So I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to solve them all. And I'm just going to disappear in the meantime. You have 1 minute left. Okay, so let's have a look and see what your answers are compared to what I have here. So for the first one, son las 3:25. By the way, I come from South America, and in South America, we don't do the th as what my lovely fellow people from Spain do. Why is that the case? Well, I would say it's because every single region in South America will have different accents. Now, if you were to speak to someone from Argentina, you will find different accents, the same as Mexico. And so, but we don't do the th, so we don't do the 25. However, if the fact that we don't do it doesn't mean that you have to do what we do or don't do. Just always feel comfortable with the way how you speak your Spanish. It doesn't matter if your Spanish sounds more like from Spain or from Peru or from Mexico or Argentina. The most important thing is that you're able to communicate yourself. Let's have a look at B. Son las 9 menos 20. Now, remember that this is slightly tricky because it looks like it's going to be like 8, but in fact it's the number of minutes that we need to use in order to get to 9. For the next one, son las 12 menos 10. Son las 4:05. Son las 3 menos 5. And finally, es la 1:30. So these are all the times that we have in Spanish. Let's continue with our lesson. Now, can you guess what the times are? So I'm going to give you some time to try and work out what time we are talking about. All you need to do is just translate. But what I will do to show you the answers is just to show you the actual time. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes for you to do this exercise. In the meantime, I'm going to disappear for the next 2 minutes. Always remember that if you have any questions, feel free to ask. You have 1 more minute left. Okay, I'm going to give you 10 more seconds, to finish the sentences you have. Right, so let's have a look at the answers. For the first one, son las 8:20, 20 past 8. Son las 10 menos 10, 10 to 10. Son las 7:15, quarter past 7. Son las 5:10, 10 past 5. Son las 3 menos 25, 25 to 3. And finally, just going to move my... Son las 4 menos cuarto, quarter to 4. Okay, I hope you're doing really well. It's not an easy one because we have lots of words that are very, very different from what we use in English. But the more you practice, the better you're going to become at this. Now let's have a look at this short paragraph. Let's see where you can answer these questions based on the time that she is using. So let's have a look. I'm going to read it for you. Hola, me llamo Esme. Me levanto todos los días a las 7:30 de la mañana. A las 8 menos 10 salgo de mi casa a tomar el tren hacia el colegio. Llego al colegio a las 9:15. Mi primera clase empieza a las 9:30 y dura hasta las 10:20. Termino el colegio a las 3 menos 20 y regreso a casa a las 3:25. So let's have a look at the questions. What time does Esme get up in the morning? Well, remember that the key here is look at the time that relates to the morning. And of course, it's going to be 7:30. That's going to be 7:30. What time does she leave home to take the train? Well, it says 8 menos 10. That means that it's going to be 10 to 8. What time does she get to school? She says, llego al colegio, that she gets to school, a las 9:15. That means 9:15. What time does her first lesson start? Well, the first one starts at 9:30. And finally, what time does she finish school? Well, she finishes school at 3 menos 20, 20 to 3. This is a very good paragraph, and I will encourage you to come back to the lesson, watch the video again, and revise all of these new words and, of course, how we tell the time in Spanish. So by now you should be able to tell the time in Spanish. You should be able to ask what time it is in Spanish, and you should be able to understand a paragraph detailing a person's routine. I hope you have enjoyed today's lesson, and I hope I can see you soon here on one of our Satchel classes. In the meantime, muchos éxitos, and have a really good rest of the day. Bye.